Welcome to the Jali podcast. I'm your host, Melyssa Barrett. This podcast is for those who are interested in the conversation around equity, diversity, and inclusion. Each week, I'll be interviewing a guest who has something special to share or is actively part of building solutions in the space. Let's get started. Kehia McKinney, founder and CEO of AAAMotivated. Attitude plus action determines access. She will tell you that she is a mom first. Kehia is a proven youth advocacy networker and mentor, spending the last 2 decades as a resident of Tracy, California, volunteering for and then employed by Tracy Unified School District. Kehia has positively impacted the lives of many students, families, fellow educators, and her community at large. Serving as a Black Student Union advisor has driven her work around what must be done to support successful outcomes for this demographic of young people. This has led her to intentionally follow the calling of making Black student success her practitioner concentration, delivering programs, mentorship, and needed resources led by love. She will also tell you that she lives by the call of do what you can, when you can, where you can. I am so excited to have Kehia McKinney with me this week. And Kehia, AAA-motivated, Black Student Success Week. How fun and exciting is this?
Like overjoyed.
I know it's been a long time coming. You've been working on lots of things.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about AAA-motivated. Let's start there.
So AAA-motivated, I tell people it's like today, as of like today we're talking about, is what I call platform turned enterprise, right? So I just kind of, for my own self, one of my guiding tenets is the formula, right? Attitude plus action determines access. And so it's what I'm always like doing with my youth development, right? So anytime I'm mentoring youth or we could be at the basketball game, it's going to be the same type of little, interaction, but that's like just kind of the core tenet. But when I take that formula and I just place it over anywhere, and that's what I tell my young people, that same formula is going to work. I don't care what industry you go to. It doesn't matter what relationship you're going into, those ingredients, right? And then it goes deeper, of course, right? But that's just kind of that's what the AAA means.
Okay, tell us again. Attitude plus action.
Yes, attitude, start there. Catch your attitude. My mom used to tell us that. Attitude plus action
equals access.
Determines access. Access, right? And so all of those, that was I do youth, leadership development, or if I'm just talking to somebody, that's really what I'm getting at. If at the end of the day, you don't remember anything else that I said, use that, because you're going to have to put other components into that, right? And so, but that's part of just my core philosophy, a core tenet I live on in life. And out of that just kind of is, well, if I'm telling that to other people, I have to do it for myself.
Yes.
I have to start with myself. And I think that's with anybody, because especially working with young people, they understand if you are not with the business, right? So you might as well come in as who you are. Stop trying to pretend some other things. Be transparent with them, And so it's that space inside of me that it's where I can pour out love.
Yes.
It's where I can pour out love. And so
I love it.
That's AAA-motivated. Yeah, I'm in that overflow space right now.
So I know you are getting ready for Black Student Success Week.
Yes.
And so tell me, how did that come about? Because I think, there's a lot of people trying to make sure that, students succeed, but you are specifically focused on Black students. So why? And I mean, I know why, but tell people why and what are you, what is that about?
So Black Student Success Week is not something that I made up. I always want people to know that. I hope people go to the website, right? So you can actually, there's links on there to take you back to where I heard about this. I heard about this last year, this from a colleague of mine. She's wonderful, Dr. Emerald Templeton. Turned me on to this construct of the California community colleges, right? And then they have this whole coalition, and they have Black Student Success Week. I was on the line last year. It was like over 700 people on the Zoom. It was exciting, but it did not matter how many letters you had behind your name, or if you had no letters behind your name, if you were there to impact Black student success. So it's a construct of the California community colleges. And so the meat and potatoes of it was more constructed towards that audience. The content was phenomenal. The people working inside up and down the state of California in particular, that just access to just to be in a space of people that, when you find your tribe,
Yes.
like, oh yeah, they got it, right? And so of all the great resources they gave and the information they talked about, right, that you could go do something, what they said to me that I've talked to you about this before is that the thing that I kept hearing every single day, and I'm sure it was said every single day because it just stays in my mind, they said, what can you do and what will you do inside of your sphere of influence to impact successful outcomes of students? And they weren't talking about like later, they were talking about like right now. What are you going to do? Right? I was like, yeah, and so in part of the discussion, when all of these people are on the virtual call, one is called the Black Hour, 12 o'clock every day, followed by the after party. That's at 1:30. I'm on Cal students, at CA Black students on Instagram. And I have them linked on my website too. So I thankful for that construct. But see, my wheelhouse, like just as what I've been doing in the last kind of my life, but more so in the past decade plus, is having the opportunity to be of service and love on and be loved by high school students, right? And so a lot of them have matriculated just through life. And so, but when you are loved inside of that space, it does something to you that you can't stop. You can't. So at any rate, when I listened to that, it just kept ringing with me. What can I do inside of my sphere of influence? I said, my wheelhouse is high school. And so I'm blessed to, though I don't work with the high school any longer as an employee, I'm still invited into that space with the students. And so I said, well, no, I just work inside. We do a high school edition to what we're celebrating at the end of this month, with thanks to the California community colleges, just kind of being at the head of that. It's called Black Student Success Week 2003, high school edition, theme, diplomas, degrees, and LLC.
2023.
2023. Yeah.
I love it. Well, and I know you have like a young Black think tank incorporated into it, along with a week-long journey of events.
Yeah.
So you actually have your matriculated students coming back to give back to the students that are still in high school.
I am about AAAMotivated, just the whole thing, and just Kehia, McKinney. I'm like, listen to kids. That's a simple, really how I want to say it. But I always am telling I am empowering and amplifying the youth voice, right? And so that comes in so many ways. So that is that begins and ends the day for me and for the program. And so the diplomas, degrees, and LLCs is actually about students, right? Success, but it is about building pipelines. It's about continuing to learn. And so, yes, we have alumni that are coming back, and they are facilitating and hosting our Young Black think tanks. And that is a time to share and connect. Just young people in the room. The adults, no, there'll be some adults, right? But this is let the young people talk. Right. And so we have some prompts and things like that. The beautiful thing is that, so there are 2 think tanks that happen on Tuesday and then Thursday evening. The one on Tuesday will be live streamed because I want to just shout out New Creation Fellowship partner, Pastor James, and his congregation. I want to say thank you to them for providing technical assistance, facilities, just leaning in to say, yes, let's do this work. And so there are so many people I can't even thank, but they know who they are that are leaning in to make sure that we are transforming the narrative, right? For Black students, and that we are putting everything we have as a community, as educators, as parents, as students, into our story, right? Through all of it, all those intersections, to focus on maximum potential, because we can have everything. That's what I've always told my young people. Look, I want you to have everything.
Absolutely.
So you got to back it up. And so I'm just so thankful for everybody leaning in. My young people, ooh, they are out of sight.
Yes, they are. So now tell us a little bit more, though, about Student Success Week. So you've got 2 think tanks and the students coming in, but what else do you have? I mean, I know you've got lots of different events and activities going on that week.
Yes. So
give us a little flavor.
Yes. So there's a place for everybody. And that's the thing, because it's about pipelines. And so pipelines are, intergenerational. That's what's so wonderful about kind of this construct that we've done here. And so we have some resource networking that's going to go on Sunday. But then the week really kicks off on Tuesday, right? Because we want you to plug into the California community colleges things. And then here's the great thing. Other community colleges around, like everywhere, they've got events going on. So just like Google that, I mean, like whatever's close to you, and like people all around are doing this, and they're pouring in with like their brains and like with doing the work. And so that whole pipeline and affirming goes on Tuesday when we have our first think tank, and that is titled What I Wish I Knew. And so I can't wait to hear what the young people have to say. And we adults get to listen. I love it. Also partner with out of West High School's Black Student Union has grown a Black Parent Collective. And so we are having our listening tour. And so we want to center the youth voice. And so that night is Youth Amplified, and the adults are not talking again, but you get a chance to listen, right? So that you can, as an adult, connect. Sometimes we got to check ourselves. My kids help me check myself all the time, but I'm open, right? So I'm not always open, but when you're in that place just to listen, I've loved, so that we can do better together.
Yes.
Right. That's the idea, right? And so bringing in community on Wednesday. And then our second think tank happens on Thursday. And some of the response come in already, because I have the students filling out some information. It's called Graduation, Then What? Because you see these alumni are like, so the people that will be participating will be, alumni that are right 19 through 29, right? Like throughout all of these stages. So you might have students that have now matriculated, and they might be working, they might be parents, they might be, owning a business. I mean, just in different places in life, that young people can talk to young people different than older people can talk to young people. I get it. So the brilliant minds, I can't wait to for that share to come out, right? And so then, like, to culminate the week, right? You just don't stop there. You go and you celebrate, and have a 8th grade Black student recognition celebration happening on Saturday, April 29th. And it's going to be held at the San Joaquin County Office of Education. It's the Wentworth Educational Center. So in the big auditorium area, they have come. I definitely am telling people, please go. When you check on the website, there's an Eventbrite link. Perhaps I can send that to you. You can put it where people can get it. But,
of course.
There's limited seating. So I want people to make sure they have a seat, and please nominate these students, because there are categories that, for me, touch my heart, right? Around recognition. and transforming the narrative, And so this is our opportunity as community, parents, educators. If you work with eighth graders that are in a program you have, nominate them.
So regular people like me can nominate these kids for different categories of awards. Is that how it works?
Absolutely. This,
Oh.
it is, someone told me this. Someone told me this. They were talking to me about the power of the pen.
Yes.
And the power of passing the mic.
Yes.
And so that's me and my attempt to, give the power of the pen to somebody to transform narratives, right? Use the pen, use the power of your attitude, use the power of getting busy about that work, and access to knocking down every door that you want to. Like, when you get an opportunity to work like with young people that you thought like, sometimes you come in as adults and you think, you have something written and you're ready to go, right? No, when you just stop and listen to these young people, like you just carry them in your heart forever. And so I want my alumni to be exposed to like, hey, a room full of resources that are about it, that come and say, hey, you know what? I do this, or I've done this, and I heard that you like to do this, or you have an interest in that. It doesn't really matter to me what path you end up on. I just want you to go boldly that way. That's what I tell young people. I want you to go boldly that way. And if I could put a resource in your path, use it. If you don't use it, okay. I tell people, I tell the kids, I said, I won't feel bad. I did my part.
Right. Well, sometimes it takes a little while. So you never know.
Right. And so, and that's what you got to know, do your part where you can, when you can. This
Yes.
is my part.
Let's pause for a moment. We'll be right back. Well, and I love the theme diplomas, degrees, and LLCs, because I'm telling you, there are a lot of young people that come out of school, they're in school and already have an LLC or, a business that they're doing. I mean, these young kids are absolutely amazing with what they are able to do at such a young age now. I mean, the technology, they're amazing. So I think it's phenomenal that you can amplify their voices right now at this tender age in high school so that they actually have the momentum they need, in college and the support and the resources. I mean, as you said, a room full of resources.
Yes, that is right. That's that connection we have to one another, right? And it is, I believe in this. When I used to work at the school, people would tell you, I would come around the corner and I would like kind of announce before I got to that person, like, well, I'm going to take you to the expert, because I really believed in like people, if that was what you were doing, like, do that thing. That's what my mom used to tell me, like, do that thing. My dad used to say, I don't care if you choose to be a street sweeper, be the best street sweeper.
Be the best one you can be. Yes.
But can I like introduce you to the dude that works at the waste management disposal? Like, can I get him in your resource network so you can know like that's viable?
Yes.
Like whatever pathway you choose, let's just plug into these young people. Why would we not? I can't. They're just, startling statistics are out there. And I'm like, no, we can change the narrative. Do the part you can where you can. And, people that want to go along with it, I'm happy. And if you don't, I'm still happy because I got joy about it. And I'm super excited for people to plug in.
Yes. Well, and it's so exciting. I'm excited for you as you are bringing this to my specific area. Because I think there are a lot of times when these types of opportunities don't exist to bring people together. And, one of my favorite African proverbs, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. This is an opportunity for these young people to really get together And what is going to be amazing to me is to see where all these young adults are in 10 or 15 years. And you have already created the cohort for this network that they are creating. It's fantastic.
Well, you know what's so beautiful is that you talked about earlier technology, right? And
Mhm.
so the technology that they have already to stay linked together, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is like, okay, totally awesome. I don't have to call your grandma and try to get your phone number, you know.
Right?
I'm just saying, you know. So I love that in just all areas of their life, you know, just to be authentic. And that's
Yeah.
why, you know, I love being able to put them together because young people got something to say.
Yeah. Well, and they're growing so much that, they're learning and evolving, and what they think they know today, they're going to learn so much more about themselves and, how they communicate. And I mean, I think it's awesome that you are pouring into our students this way. So, I know it's impactful.
I'm proud of it. And our BSU students, you know, at the school that, so I went around to the school and I'm pitching it to them, you know, I kind of giving them a little, and they were like, oh, yeah, yeah, you know, and I saw a student at the school the other day. And I was like, hey, dear, you know, because I'm going to speak if I'm out. You know, even people don't speak to me, that's all right. You just keep on going, right? And I asked her, I said, hey, you know, about, you know, Black Student Success Week. She was like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, well, how'd you hear about it? She said, oh, my sister did. I was like, oh, great, you know. And so I was like, you think you're going to plug in? She was like, yeah, maybe, you know. And I was like, okay. So I'm looking later on and I was like, okay, good. She plugged in. And it was like, you know, I encourage people to just take a look at it. It may or may not be for you. That's what I always tell people. You know what I mean? Like it may or may not be for you. If it's not, that's all right. If it is, come on in the room. Like the good stuff, leading out of love is here. Like, yeah, I'm excited. I'm grateful. So, you know, I'm thankful to the educators, right, that are plugging in. So,
And shout out to the BSUs and the BSU advisors.
to the BSU advice, come on, like, come on, y'all. When you talk about your tribe, you know, please come out to the celebration. You know, as adults, right? Come out to the celebration. On the website, the information for, you know, how to join the parent collective if you come in person or if you come virtually, you're, you know, welcome to come plug in. But it is about all of us, right? Because we can only do so much. Everybody can only do so much. You know, I'm first mom. That's I got to be mom. I got to do mom stuff first, right? But what happens is, right, when other kids start calling you Mama A or whatever, that's what they call me. This is debate. It's like they get into your heart so much, and so it is. I think I told you before, as long as I have breath in my body.
Yes, you did say
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I caught it. I caught it. There are so many people doing this work. You see what I'm saying? Like up and down the state of California in particular. And I know in other places where it's, you know, you cannot even lead, like we were talking about before. If you even lead the conversation with the word Black, you know, there's just sometimes like a staring off into outer space or already just a space of, you know, I don't want to hear it. But that is the thing. I told someone in a conversation the other day, I said, you know, I'm leading out of love. I would hope other people meet me at that space. But if they don't, I can't worry about that. You know, I've chosen this as my practitioner concentration, right? So anybody that knows me or has the opportunity to know me, not think they know me, you know. Because yeah, it's young people here in our area, you know, they'll be like, oh, Miss A, oh, they'll quote me and they'll say, black, white, yellow, polka dot, or stripe. At the end of the day, kids win. That's where I start and stop with. You know, if we're not on that same type of vibe, then it's just not an alignment. You know what I mean? And that's okay because everybody has a piece, right?
Right,
And so
right.
I respect your piece and I'm going to go in peace. And I am just so thankful of so many people that are just in this vein of saying, you know what, we can change this narrative and affirm young people, give them a space, center their voice, you know, and then put the resources behind them so that we don't have to make it hard. We don't have to make it hard.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's so interesting because, we talk a lot about equity. And then when we bring things that are providing levels of equity, then it's like people don't want to hear it. And it's amazing to me, because when I think about diversity, equity, and inclusion, we talk about infrastructure and things that need to be changed, just to allow access. Right. So, I mean, a lot of what you're talking about is really, when you talk about bridging the gap, you are bringing the bridge. And so if we have, schools or around the country that aren't supportive, or other parents that aren't supportive, I always wonder, like, why? Because it's not a matter of scarcity. It's a matter of opening access to everyone.
Yes. Like we're on the same page, right? This is something I believe, at this point, I believe it. I think I know it, but I believe it is that the word change, just the word is just across humanity, right? Is scary for people. And so I guess for me, I've just got to meet the dopest people. I mean, like in life of the people I stand on their shoulders of right now, the people I've met recently, and just to give me just where I'm at right now. I just think about, I was on a call, and then this gentleman said, I cannot remember for the life of me his name. But it was on a webinar with the Fortune, and the gentleman said at the end of the tape, he said, you know what the ancestors are calling you to do. And it was like mic drop, boom.
I love it. I love it.
And that sits with me,
Well, and I love, because there's one thing that you say that, about who, you're literally developing young leaders. And I'm going to read it, because it says you're developing young leaders who actualize and express themselves in crucial spaces to ensure access, equity, and inclusion, so that the necessary steps are taken to bend the arc of time towards successful outcomes that create opportunities and eliminate the barriers for Black student success. Powerful.
You like it?
I love it. I love it, because, you're talking about, I mean, bending the arc of time
Yeah.
towards successful outcomes. I mean, I love that, because, we talk about creating opportunities and eliminating barriers, but we actually have to do something to bend it there. I mean, I don't get there without it.
There are so many avenues, right? And so I got to go back to one thing that's like an undercurrent of the week, but more so more inside of, from where you're reading, you'll see in there like some kind of initiatives like dual enrollment, right? Something I'm still even trying to get my mind all the way there. I can't understand why it's not happening. That like at that, there are some bigger brains than me that are at that table. And okay, I'm like, let's pick up best practices. But that's an example of bending the arc of time, right? So that is obtaining an associate's degree at the same time, or even a couple of weeks before you receive a diploma. How about concurrently, right? That's been an arc of time, right? So this resource networking, in the sense of let's do some knowledge transfer, right? Is continual learning. That's part of the metaphor, diplomas, degrees, LLCs, right? That's bending the arc of time. And it goes back to, because not everybody will have access to these rooms, you see? And so that's why I'm like, anybody, hey, pick up the blueprint, let's go. In whatever space you're in. If it's something K5, figure it out. If it's whatever, if it's this, take it and let's go. And let's start changing the narrative, together. But the undercurrent of this diploma, degrees, and LLCs is like this continual learning. And a big part of that is reading literacy, right? And so that, for me, is a component that you'll see show up, but early age, but then interventions wherever our students are at, right? Because, I was watching something with LeVar Burton and his daughter the other night, and I was all excited, reading Rainbow. And I'm like, singing the song. So I'm not going to sing the song because I do not sing. But look up the lyrics, somebody, if you watch it. But you can hear it, right? And, you think about just getting an excitement of reading, and so we'll have some undercurrent of that. But I mean, that's a theme that is just about continual learning, right? There are some have people in our family still at this point that cannot read. Okay. So that's a limiting factor. That's just, that's what I believe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and that is something that shows. And
Yeah.
so wherever interventions are needed, let's get those now.
Yes.
Right. And then so hopefully next year we'll see a bigger, won't be an undercurrent, but it'll be over. But in the meantime, everybody doing the work, keep doing the work, figure out what interventions are needed because our students are not performing at the levels that they can. And so let's take advantage of all the resources. So that's why I'm big into resource networking, right? Each one teach 10. That's what I'm all about. And so I would love, the community to come out when we culminate on to celebrate these 8th graders, right? Because soon they'll be matriculated into high school. This would be their addition. But then it gives those students a safe place to land. It gives them a place already to access this resource because not just the students, but their parents. And when I say parents, I mean their community, whoever is at home, right? So
grandmas,
aunties, uncles, cousins, foster.
Yes.
All of these spaces, to plug into. So, if you know an 8th grader, you can nominate that 8th grader. You see, you don't have to be a teacher because part of it, we look at data. I'm just saying it's not my data. Look at the California State Dashboard. Okay, Department of Education, not my data. You look at the overrepresentation. Our students are getting recognized, right? In an overrepresentation of suspensions and expulsions in comparison to the numbers of enrollments. That's not my data, but I'm like this. Hey, that's what it says. So lead with data, follow with heart. This is some of the heart, right? Yeah. And then there's other work people in other spaces are doing, right? And then I'm like, together, let's make it happen, And so if you know an 8th grader, look, you want to know what kind of categories are there: leadership, community engagement, someone fine arts and talent, cultural consciousness, student athletes, top academics. And then we want to also make sure that we recognize students with academic improvement. So more of those categories are on the website. Click the document, nominate. You want to make sure you get your tickets to go see these students. We're saying, if we're going to write the narrative, right? If we want something to be different, we have to do something different, right? So I'm like this. I show up for kids. That's my tribe. We show up for kids. And so I thank you for allowing me to share this, so that someone else can share it. We know what it's like to be in school. If everybody could think back on a memory when they were in school.
Oh yeah, we can think back.
Right. So
no, that's phenomenal. And, my dad used to always tell me, I mean, education is the great equalizer. He was born in the 40s. He's no longer here. But the one thing that me and my sister got, if nothing else, is all about education. To me, education is the baseline. And then when you're talking about attitude plus action determines access, I mean, that's a formula for success.
That's it. Successful outcomes for students. That's it.
I love it. Well, yes. Kehia, it is a pleasure. And I love what you're doing in the community. When we're talking about social impact, we love talking to people who are making a difference in the world, impacting our people, our youth especially. So please keep up your great work and we will keep in contact with you.
I appreciate you. I bless you. I bless you. And I thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for joining me on the Jali podcast. Please subscribe so you won't miss an episode. See you next week.